Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 10 of our F125 My Team Career Mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Canadian Grand Prix. We've officially caught up and now overtaken the IRL F125 season. But yeah, returning to Montreal this weekend, I am hoping we can get another good Grand Prix under our belt. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live earlier on today, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. Barcelona was a rather interesting Grand Prix. You know, a very, very tough venue, but at least we kind of learned what we need to for the rest of F125, because of course, as we all know, that circuit is one of the worst on F124 for tyre temperature management and everything like that. But of course, yeah, I mentioned it in the video earlier on today as well, but of course this is the last day of the double uploads of this series. So tomorrow, sadly, you're going to have to stick with just one My Team video here on the channel. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting into it. Of course, if we take a quick look at the World Championship standings at the moment, Lando Norris leading the way, 44 clear of Max Verstappen. Oscar Piastri still in third. We are still in 8th place, carried of course by that big result at the Monaco Grand Prix a couple of races back. The team as well still in P5 at the moment, ahead of Aston Martin, Williams and Haas there as well. So fingers crossed we can keep up the momentum. Like I said, get yourself subscribed. We're trying to hit 150,000 subs. And obviously, if you want early access to all the videos as well, click the join button. It costs just £1 a month. You get early access to all the videos. But yeah, let's head then here to Montreal.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here in Canada at the wonderful Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Who's going to come out fastest of all in the next hour? Yes, it's time for qualifying.
We're desperately trying to get some temperature into the tyres then, ready for our final run. But again, how many times have we seen it this year where we're quick on the first run and then everybody else improves more than I can second time round? We definitely left some time on the table in that first run of the session, but getting it all hooked up here is no easy feat. Just roll on that throttle nice and tidy through the exit turn 2. Turn 3 there, you're kind of just braking at about 70 metres out, kind of when you get the feel for it. But that is much easier said than done. So by the end of Sector 1, we are up in the green ever so slightly. Oh, I've got to be so careful. Those curbs will always upset the back of the car, and you just see there, hesitating to get on the throttle. Really, the compromise is a little bit of time. By the time we get out down that back straight there, nice and tidy through the curbs. Again, they are so much more sensitive inside F125, so you can't quite kind of abuse them in the same way you did in F124. Yuki Tsunoda puts himself up in safety there, top of the board for him. We are still in P14. Nope, as soon as I say that, we get relegated to P15. We might have to go for a big send through the final chicane of the lap. We are right on the cusp of the drop zone. I cannot look at it anymore. I think we have been put into the drop zone now. Through the final chicane, we'll go there, completely mess it up, lock the rear wheels up, and that was an absolute disaster. P17 on the grid. We just got knocked out again. Well, there we are. Yuki Tsunoda fastest on the board then in Q1, ahead of Lando Norris and George Russell there. Nico Hülkenberg again. How many times do we see the Sauber just casually slotting himself up and into Q2? But less than 1/10 of a second the difference between myself and Lance Stroll there. The difference between Q2 and not making the cut this weekend. Andrea Kimi Antonelli will be very disappointed down in P18. The V-Carbs, though, slowest on the board. They don't even have the slowest car, according to the game. But we've got a lot of work to do from 17th on the grid.
We're back once again beside the St. Lawrence River here in Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix. The event first moved to the variant of this track back in 1978, and it was won by none other than Gilles Villeneuve, the first Canadian to ever win his home race, and in whose honour the circuit would be renamed. With top speeds of around 210 miles per hour heading into the overtaking opportunity of turn 13, the 2.7 miles of the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve are some of the quickest on the Formula One calendar. There are 14 corners in total, with 60% of the lap taken at full throttle, and average speeds clock in at about 130 miles per hour. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position, edging out Lando Norris, who'll start from P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Hamilton, Leclerc, Yuki Tsunoda and Piastri, Sainz, Russell, Ocon and Pierre Gasly, Albon, Stroll, Nico Hülkenberg and Bortoleto, Behrman, Voisin, Andrea Kimi Antonelli and Fernando Alonso, Doohan, Halger, Lawson and Isaac Hadjar rounds off the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Well, here we are then, down on the grid, ready for the Canadian Grand Prix. We have gained one spot, courtesy of some Fernando Alonso grid penalties here. But yeah, this place, I think, as we've seen a couple of times this season, it's going to be a really, really interesting fight. And most likely a two-stop. Obviously, we saw that in Barcelona, although, again, the safety car kind of changed that up. But yeah, here, I mean, it was a two-stop on F1 24 if you were really, really aggressive with it. So we're going to try and see the two-stop through today, and hopefully we can make it work there. Opting for hards at the start, though, seems like a bit of an odd call by the team, but I guess it opens up doors later on in the afternoon. 5 red lights are on, though, here in Canada. What, no hold at all there. Ollie Behrman, the only one that really responded to it, but left with nowhere to go, apart from a Sauber wall. What, in towards turn 1. Alonso immediately trying to make back up some places then, that he lost, obviously, courtesy of his penalties, side by side, with Andrea Kimi Antonelli for the first corner. To get a nice bit of oversteer. On the exit as well there. Everybody just concertinaing up. I apologise, Kimi. You did a good job avoiding me there. Down in towards turn 3. As just wasn't expecting the AI to back up that badly in towards the next corner there. Everybody very, very leisurely off the start of the GP as Verstappen already, by the looks of it, trying to break free at the front of the order. I keep forgetting to show kind of the overall vehicle performance right now. Red Bull do actually have the upper hand at the moment, as I have no idea how many times that curb caught me out on F1 24, and it's done exactly the same in F1 25 immediately. Luckily, able to keep the car going in the right direction there, but that was very annoying. 3 wide on the exit hairpin, and I guess we'll claim a couple of spots back almost immediately. Then Liam Lawson, not in a particularly comfortable scenario there, but we made it work, and it looks like Halger as well, up a couple of places then. And our teammate actually now trying to look for a move on myself down at the final chicane. Will not go for that one. We'll think better of it in the end, but yeah, that curb is still lethal, and clearly the AI is still very, very frantic around this circuit. But we have survived that one, just about, and luckily, Antonelli might be able to drag Doohan and I back to the rest of the pack. Here we go again, Jack Doohan this time around opting for the outside line, down in towards the final corners, and the Alpine will breeze by the Mercedes down at that final turn then. So a very, very good job done by Jack there. Annoyingly, we can't get any closer to the pair of them. There's also someone having a bit of a lock-up down at C1.
Well done.
I've got no idea whether it's just V-carb this weekend or what's going on, but they are really struggling early on this season. As to the inside of Antonelli, well, look, I think he might have a mechanical issue, because he just had no drive off of turn 2, and we will move up to 18th. Well, this is probably one of the biggest tests inside F1 25 to see whether the AI are much better at kind of not forming trains anymore. And well, you take a look at the mini-map. Yes, there's still kind of groups of cars together, but you get that in IRL Formula 1. I actually think they've done a really, really good job fixing it inside F1 25 there. You can see Verstappen and one of those Ferraris is bolted away a little bit, but there are little kind of groups of cars and everything else here. But kind of in all of that, we've moved past Jack Doohan now, so we are slowly making a little bit of progress. But I think because we don't get the DRS trains as much anymore, it's going to make kind of my life a bit more difficult. Around a track like this, you just slowly kind of picked off the AI because they couldn't DRS past each other. I can't do that anymore. Well, Fernando Alonso then does seem to be starting to struggle on his medium, so I think, yeah, they're only really going to go 10 or 11 laps in this Grand Prix as to the outside of the Spaniards. We will try to have a look, and well, this time around he doesn't want the fight, I don't believe. Did I see a car coming into the pit lane now? I don't think I did. My mind playing tricks on me as two of our rookies. Behrman and Bortoleto there, wheel to wheel down at turn 1. Couldn't make it happen. Bortoleto is getting much more desperate to try and keep Ollie Behrman at bay here. Maybe he's been told by the team to try and help his teammate Nico Hülkenberg out, who seems to be in a little bit of no man's land himself, but trying to get in the slipstream of Ollie Behrman then down in towards the final couple of corners. Can't do anything with it. Hülkenberg straight on and into the pit lane. Alonso behind me. Just had to blend out the throttle slightly to make sure he could get in. So we've got yellows out down in turn 1. Not too sure what's happening. Oh, we've got a roadblock. We've got a roadblock. One of the McLarens has gone round. We've got a red flag.
Keep the delta positive and let's have you straight to the pit lane, please.
I think that's our first ever red flag inside F125. I might be wrong. I haven't done that many races just yet, so I should probably remember. But yeah, one of the McLarens go around then down at the second corner there. I assume they just looped it round on the throttle. But that's going to mean then that
this is essentially a free stop, so let's think very carefully about our strategy for the rest of this race.
Well, I did not know we were meant to be expecting rain come the end of the afternoon here. That might make things rather dramatic here in Montreal. But I guess we're going to have to bolt on a set of mediums for this second stint. 5 red lights are on once again then. And it's going to be lights out and away we go there. This time around Alex Albon fails to start the car very well. Ollie Behrman immediately trying to have a look round him. Whoa, Ollie Behrman there. That was a big move on the run to the braking zone. Luckily, we just about get the car stopped and we actually gained quite a few places trying to avoid the Haas man. Round the outside of Lance Stroll will go out of turn 1.
Focus on the driving.
Don't think we're going to be able to do against the Aston Martin there as Oscar Piastri gets back going in this Grand Prix, but down in P8. I wish there was a way when the AI do that for the game to kind of force them down the order a bit more. You don't tend to get a red flag in kind of IRL Formula 1 unless there's actually been a big crash. But the AI don't tend to do that inside the F1 games there. We did see Doohan hit the wall last weekend in Barcelona, but not kind of properly, if you will. But up then into P12 off of the restart. So we've kind of got to take these tyres then past about lap 24-25. When do the team think the rain's going to arrive?
Rain for the time being. Conditions look good. Okay, dry seem like the best tyre for now.
So the team still don't think we're going to see rain before the end of the afternoon. Bortoletto, again, going to try and have a look for the inside. And immediately is going to chicken out of it. Ooh, oh, George Russell there made a bit of a wobble. See Lance Stroll then getting right up underneath his gearbox. And these two now going to go side by side down in towards the hairpin. Can we possibly get a good run off of the corner as Russell really struggling? Of course, I believe, 2023 pole sitter, wasn't he, in this race? But then look at the traction. He gets off the corner there against Sir Lance. They're going to be side by side. We're going to make it 3 wide down in towards the final chicane then. Who's going to back out, Lance or myself? This time around the AI don't, but we get the elbows out there. Just give Lance a little bit of that. It's your home Grand Prix, I don't care. And up then for the first time today into the points. Well, we really have got to try and capitalise on the pace advantage we've got on the hard compound runners early on, as to the outside of Pierre Gasly then. And up into 9th place, you can see Oscar Piastri really having a terrible day out of it here at the moment. Esteban Ocon, he's probably not the man Oscar Piastri thought he'd be battling with today. Let's not forget, of course, has lost second in the World Championship to Max. So he needs to be getting, some strong races under his belt, especially as the Dutchman looks to close in the gap on Lando Norris at the top of the table. But let's just see what we can do. We've got yellows, that's a car behind us, so I think that might be Kimi Antonelli breaking down and therefore retiring from the Grand Prix. It has been another really terrible weekend for the young Mercedes man. Luckily no safety car or anything like that, but poor old Kimi Antonelli, or poor young Kimi Antonelli I should say, nothing is going his way so far this season. Meanwhile, I'm starting to understand why the AI struggled on their mediums early on in this race. I think the hard tyre is a much better one. We've only been on these 7 laps and they already feel like jelly. Well, I feel like I'm struggling on my tyres, but Esteban Ocon, he must be in a world of hurt inside that Haas car right now. He's got nothing apart from a huge amount of straight line speed down this back straight there as we tuck up in the wheel tracks again, 214 miles an hour. Again, not close enough to get past the Frenchman there out of the final turn. Let's see if we can get the run though back in towards turn 1. I have been trying to save some battery over these last couple of laps. To the inside we'll go. Late on the brakes there. And up into P8 then of this race as we just take a look. part of the track. I mean, that looks beautiful, blue skies here. But if we face the other way, the rain is definitely rolling in. But into the pits we must go then in this race. Another set of mediums going on the wagon to the end of the afternoon. But yeah, this circuit is just so really limited inside F125. Got to be really careful on pit lane entry as Max Verstappen diving in, as well as I believe one of the Ferrari cars as well. Ferrari, they're another team that have looked really, really quick so far this weekend, but hopefully, obviously, being right down the end of the pit lane, we shouldn't get held up too much by other cars coming in. The only thing that normally costs me is if we had a bad pit stop, but we haven't this time round. Where is Esteban Ocon in this Grand Prix? There is our teammate Dennis Hauger, who might give us a nice slipstream. He might actually just get around him, which we will. Teammate battles on the exit of the pit lane there, but Ocon, 3 seconds behind. He must have been held up in the pit lane quite badly, because there's no way I overcut him. But there we go then, our final few cars into the pits as well, so we should reconfirm our I believe it was P8, wasn't it? We were in this Grand Prix. Let's find out. Might be P9 actually, as there is Oscar Piastri making his way through pit lane exit. Yeah, Oscar just about hanging ahead of us in that McLaren car. Chronic understeer through turn 1. No, a Williams. There's still a Williams that hasn't pit. So nice to see them leading. Just a shame it won't last. Oh, there we go. There we go. Lance Stroll into the pits then. So we've up to P7 in this Grand Prix. Stroll's opted for a very, very aggressive soft compound tyre to get to the end. Only 8 laps he should be able to do it. But at the front of the order, Ferrari now with a 1-2 in this Grand Prix. That would be a big day for them.
Let's use that overtake button a bit more.
There we go, Sainz again, having a look for it. This time around we'll go wheel to wheel in towards the chicane. And, well, surely there's no way I can defend from him for 6 laps at the end of this GP. I guess I'm going to have to start thinking about it. You know, if we get to a couple of laps to go and he's still not through, then it's definitely going to be worth our fight. But all I want to do at the moment is don't destroy the tyres, and then Esteban Ocon can kind of get back into this squabble. That's the main thing I'm worried about at the moment. That's why I kind of wasn't worried about fighting Carlos for the position towards the end of the afternoon. But again, nice and easy through that final chicane. Will we see Sainz go for it again back in towards turn 1? This time around, no, he won't even get alongside us. Oh, that time around, Carlos absolutely will fly by me. Whoa, and almost into the side of him as well. Didn't think he'd brake as early as he did there through the corner.
Try to keep focus.
Yep, annoyingly, of course, instantly he gets out of the DRS range as well with that little mistake, but could have been a whole lot worse. Let's just get the car to the finish. Well, into the final lap then of the Canadian Grand Prix. I don't think we can complain about this one today. Got a little bit unlucky in Barcelona.
Final lap.
Felt like we had good pace there, but ultimately wasn't able to utilise it towards the end of the afternoon. But here today, the red flag, it did kind of come out perfectly timed for us. It kind of stopped a few of those cars that had just pit from being able to use the undercut. We were beginning to struggle as well on our hard compounded tyre. But at the front of the order, Ferrari 1 and 2 right now. The only problem is I've got no idea which one's leading. I think they've got a margin though to the second car. I think it's Charles Leclerc that is finally going to end Maranello's drought early on this season. We've seen McLaren and Red Bull win so many times, but today, around this high-speed circuit, is going to be Ferrari's day. Gilles Villeneuve won here before. Charles Leclerc is going to win this weekend for Ferrari. Lewis Hamilton will follow him through for a 1-2 finish for the Italian team. Like I said, they will be very, very happy with that. And of course, Hamilton, we know just how much he loves this circuit in Formula 1 as well. But in towards the final few corners, we were unlucky not to score in Spain. We're fairly lucky that we've scored here in Canada, but I'm pretty happy with the race we've had.
Charles Leclerc, what a drive, what a victory, he wins!
What a true show of character to fight through the grid the way they did, to not get beat down by starting so far down, and to come back and win it all. Just goes to show how strong this driver is.
It's time to bring out the bubbly and spray it around. It's our podium celebrations. And who gets to take the top step of the podium? Yes, it is I, Leclerc. Charles Leclerc on top.
Well, there we are then. Ferrari didn't have the pace on Saturday, but they absolutely nailed it on Sunday afternoon. Charles Leclerc, P1 from 4th on the grid. Lewis Hamilton following him home. Max Verstappen in P3, ahead of Norris, Tsunoda and Oscar Piastri. So, yeah, your big three teams really did kind of dominate this one. Carlos Sainz, myself, Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon rounding out your top 10 there. Neither Mercedes or Aston Martin able to score some points this weekend, so they will be left kind of scratching their heads, wondering what went wrong. Ollie Behrman, not too sure what happened to him, but had to take a late pit stop in the GP as well there, forcing him down into P21. And of course, Kimi Antonelli, the only driver that failed to see the checkered flag. Clearly, Lance Stroll's late pit stop as well didn't quite work out for him. Taking a look, though, at the World Championship, Norris now 41 clear of Verstappen, Leclerc now ahead of Piastri, and Lewis Hamilton only 8 points back behind the Australian as well. So we could very quickly see Oscar Piastri drop down the order a little bit more. And, you know, fair play to Yuki Tsunoda and George Russell. They are both still not a million miles away. I think 8th place is sensibly, kind of the dream result for us this first season. Antonelli just behind, still ahead of Alonso. Ocon with another point on the board there. And Carlos Sainz as well, now up into P12 as well, so back ahead of his teammate Alex Albon. Constructors-wise, McLaren 59 clear of Ferrari, who re-jumped Red Bull. Mercedes in a distant P4 ahead of ourselves. Williams now just 5 points back ahead of Aston Martin, Haas, Alpine, VCarb, and of course Kick Sauber. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed. Again, a massive thank you to everybody for the support on all the double uploads we've been doing over the course of this week. But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow, though, I believe, for the Austrian Grand Prix. You guys do not want to miss it.